Students, now we are going to start the experiment of creating the Lambda function, which is a microservice, and then triggering the Lambda function from API gateway. So first we have to go into our AWS console where I am in and go to the Lambda function. So these are the Lambda functions which I already had. I will delete these functions, so let me create the new one. So let me create the new Lambda function, create function, and then I'm going to create the function from the scratch, and the function name is going to be fun1, and which is going to be written in Node.js based. So just clicking on create function, so the function will be get created. So now you can able to see the function as fun1, and there is no trigger in the left side here, and there is no destination too. So first we will create the function. So if you come down here under the code tab, you can able to see the handler function. Okay, inside the handler function, what we are going to write is the one which we get as the execution part. Okay, so now I'm going to print something here as console.log, like welcome. So there is no control S here to save, so you have to deploy the function that ensures your modification is being saved. So deploy it. Then for the first time when we are doing, just click on the test here and enter the test name. This is only for the first time. You need to do that. And just click on save. Now again click on the test to trigger the function manually. So if you click on the test, the function will get triggered manually, and you can able to see the welcome is being printed here. The same you can able to see in the CloudWatch also. So to go to that part, just go to the monitor section in the top. In the monitor section, you can able to see view logs in CloudWatch. Click this. So it will open in the separate window, separate tab. Here in the log groups, you can able to see the log group is generated for the recent one. Click this. Here is the welcome which we printed. So it is little more persistent than the console window which is showing the output in the Lambda function. So we can able to see the CloudWatch output at any time we want. Now, this is about the first part, creating the Lambda function. That is done. So the code is ready. And what about our triggering? We need to trigger this Lambda function from an API gateway. Okay. So we need to go to API gateway now, open in another tab. So just go to API gateway. API gateway. Here you can able to see multiple gateways are already been there. Okay. I don't want all these gateways, just only one gateway required now. We will create that new. So now to create the new gateway, you can able to choose from multiple option. I am going to choose the REST API based one. So build. So here I'm going to start the API from the scratch. create new API, and my API name is my API. Just create API. Now the API is being created. You know that the API calls are from URL. That means from the top URL bar. Okay. So when you give some URL, specific URL, the Lambda function will get triggered. That is through get method. There are multiple methods to do this. First, we need to create a method for this purpose. I'm creating by clicking on actions and create method. Then you will get a drop down box like this. From the URL, if you like to trigger, it is a get method. Okay. Other methods we need to induce from the code by writing a specific code on the program. So now from the URL way I'm going to do, that is get method, or else I can go with any method. Okay. So I'm going to go with get method. Now it is asking for the endpoint. So the endpoint is going to be the Lambda function, and where I'm working is the Mumbai region. Okay, so the same region here, and then the Lambda function, the function name should be there. You can able to see fun1 is appearing here. So I'm just selecting the same function and then just click on save. It is asking the permission to trigger the Lambda from API gateway. Just click OK. So now the method is being created. So to test the method, here the test icon is there. Click on that. So it will trigger the test for you. Now when the test is being triggered, it is giving you the status of the Lambda function. So what it is giving is the Lambda code which you are having inside the Lambda handler body section. So here the status code 200 and body you are having hello from Lambda. These two is been coming out here as the response, because that is the one you are returning. So now the response is coming back to your API gateway, but still we triggered the Lambda function from the API gateway console and not from the URL. Okay. So to do that, we need to get back. We need to get back to the same place where we started the test. So here under the action tab, you are seeing the menu for deploy API. So click on the deploy API. So the API will be deployed. Obviously it is going to be the new stage. You can name the stage as anything like test or production. Then the stage description is optional and deployment description is also optional. Just click on deploy. So now you can see in the left side, from the resources it is moved to the stages, and in the stages there is an invoke URL which you can copy and open in a new tab. So this invoke URL will trigger the Lambda function and get back the output to display like this in a browser. So now this is globally there, so anyone who is making this URL will able to trigger the Lambda function and get this output. But if I stop the API gateway trigger and if I delete my Lambda functions, then it won't work. Now we can also verify the same in a CloudWatch logs. So we know that already we are having the welcome in the CloudWatch logs. Just refresh it. So now you can able to see 3 times the welcome, 1 and 2 and 3. So the first time is the manual trigger which we made from the Lambda function. The second time the manual trigger which we made from API gateway console. The third time the trigger is being made from the URL. So from the URL, the Lambda function is being triggered through the API gateway and it is printing the response. The response is being received in the front for us in the browser, and the logs are printed in the CloudWatch. That's it. Thank you.